In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about house hacking, and I'm going to show you why it's the best financial decision you can possibly make. Who doesn't want to get rich living for free? And stay tuned to the end of the video when I tell you exactly how long it'll take you to become a millionaire with house hacking. Let's dive right in. First of all, let's define house hacking. House hacking is the practice of buying a property that has multiple units to rent, living in one of the units, and then collecting rent from the other units to go ahead and pay the expenses. Let's go ahead and use this triplex as an example. You come in here as a very savvy, sophisticated investor with a big smile on your face, and you buy the entire thing, and then you rent out unit number 2, unit number 3, and then you live in unit number 1. Each month you collect rent from these two individuals that are far less happy than you are, and they pay you, and out of this rent money, you go ahead and pay the expenses. Now, these aren't all of them, but you get the gist of what I'm talking about. We've got the mortgage here, that's paid by your renters. Insurance, taxes, all paid by your renters. So what ends up happening is you actually live for free, if not make positive cash flow, just by buying this asset and house hacking it. And it doesn't just apply to multifamily with duplexes or triplexes. You can buy a single family home and rent out each individual room nightly, maybe on Airbnb. Or if you want to take it to that next level, you could even do a hotel or a motel. In 2014, I was this close to buying a small hotel casino in Puerto Rico. I was going to take the entire top floor and turn it into an awesome penthouse. I was going to live in the penthouse and just sit and collect all that money from the casino and those nightly room rentals. It just goes to show you that you don't have to be a newbie to take advantage of house hacking. You can do it at any level. Let's go ahead and use a real world example of a property that I recently found on Zillow. It's a property in a place where I love to invest. I've got several rental properties in Kansas City, Missouri. This is actually in Blue Springs, which is a really nice suburb. And this is a fourplex, which you can see in the pictures, and they're asking $400,000. Now, of course, we would want to negotiate that, but let's just say that you pay $400,000 for this fourplex. Going back to our previous example, you live here in unit number 1, and then you rent out unit 2, 3, and 4. And let's say you're renting those units out for about $850 a month, and you can see based on that Zillow listing that we're right in the ballpark there. You'd be collecting $2,550 a month in rent from your 3 tenants. Well, of course, you've got expenses there, so your mortgage payment on this $400,000 is roughly going to be $1,700. That's your mortgage payment. I'm getting to those numbers by assuming a 20% down payment, a 30-year fixed rate loan at 5%. I'm not 100% sure that you can do a 30-year fixed on a fourplex, but we'll assume that you can for this example. Your mortgage, $1,700. Your property taxes are going to be right around $375 a month. $200 for the property insurance, and then about $200 for maintenance. That brings you up to $2,475. So you can see in this specific example, you're not only living for free, you're actually being paid about $100 a month to live here. And let's take a look at the fine print on that Zillow listing. You'll see in 2016, this thing sold for $165,000. That is crazy. Granted, the listing went for sale, then it was removed, then it went back on the market, and this means that there's something really, really wrong with the property. As an example, a really bad roof or a foundation problem. But the bottom line is they got it for $165,000, even if you would have put another $100,000 into it, which would have taken care of almost any problem you can imagine. You'd still only be in it for $265,000, and then rework these numbers at $265,000, you would be hugely cash flow positive if your mortgage payment was only about $1,000 a month. And that just goes to show you that if you really do a lot of digging, you can just get some smoking deals And you can take house hacking from something that's a good investment to something that's an absolutely spectacular investment. You may be saying to yourself, okay, George, I get it. I see how I can live for free with house hacking, but how is it going to help me get rich? I'm going to explain that to you right now. First and foremost, you've got to invest the money that you save. The largest expense that most Americans have is their rent or mortgage payment. So if you can take that money and invest it instead of giving it to someone else, over time, you're going to be very wealthy. Let's assume that your monthly housing cost is $1,000. Well, if you can take that each month and invest it, and at even a decent return, let's say 7%, over 28 years, this $1,000 a month is going to be over $1 million. Number two is building equity. Remember, your renters are paying you every single month. You're taking that money to pay off your mortgage. So a part of that mortgage payment every single month goes to the principal payment. So at the end of 30 years, you own the house. Yay! And your renters have paid for it. Number three are taxes. You own an asset that's valued at, let's say, $400,000. Well, you can take that, put it on a depreciation schedule of around 28 years, and you can take that amount, that prorated amount, and you can deduct that from your taxable income every single year. And number four is inflation. Remember, if inflation goes up at, let's say, 3 to 5% per year, you're adjusting your rents accordingly. So your rents are going to be going up. So at year one, if you're at a break even, if you're just living for free, every single year that you adjust those rents up, that's going to be more money in your pocket. Okay, so the question you've been all waiting for, how long will it take you to become a millionaire through house hacking? Let's go ahead and use that same example of that fourplex that we looked at earlier. And let's assume that you're putting aside $1,000 a month from your income that you can put into investing because you don't have that monthly housing payment. I'm not going to give it to you yet, but during the span of this mystery number of years, you would have made $686,000 roughly from your investments. Your tenants would have built about $200,000 of equity in your asset. You would have saved about $50,000 in taxes, assuming that you're making about 50 grand, 60 grand a year. And you would have made about $70,000 as a result of inflation from bringing up those rents. And let's keep in mind here that I haven't even talked about appreciation or leveraging the equity in the asset that you have. The bottom line here is that these numbers are extremely conservative if you know what you're doing and if you're watching this channel. So how many years will it take you? Here we go. You ready? Editor, drum roll, please. Boom! So what are you waiting for? Get out there, get rich, live for free, and start house hacking. We'll see you in the next video.